All right, so let's take it back to when this show was starting out. I remember there are all sorts of memes. There are all sorts of memes out about this show. And one that I felt like I saw the most out of was the child, Baby Yoda, as we called him at the time, holding this like bowl. That got changed around so much. And I felt like I saw that everywhere that I was on the internet. And well, this is the episode that it occurred in. So let's talk about it, shall we? Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Daniel Strong. Welcome back to QuickTime Reactions. And you have found me on my way to Mandalorian and Grogu, which I am reviewing all 3 seasons of The Mandalorian as well as the Book of Boba Fett. And today we're here to talk about episode 4 of season 1 of The Mandalorian, called Sanctuary. This episode was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. Now, if that name rings a bell to you, that is because you've probably seen her as an actress. If you're my age, you remember her as Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man 3. She's also been in the Jurassic World films, as well as a whole host of other things as well. But, and this is actually news for me, I thought this would be the first time that she ever directed anything. But no, she actually had experience directing before getting the opportunity to direct this episode. And, of course, directing is kind of in her family, because her father is Ron Howard, the legendary film director who's given us many, many classic movies, including one of my personal favorites around Christmas time, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, with Jim Carrey. But we're going to continue moving along. And, of course, the episode was written by Mr. Jonfavreau. The Mandalorian and the child are seeking sanctuary. They are on the run from all these bounty hunters, and they think they have found a planet that might be good for them to hide out for a little bit. But they would come across a village of people in need of help. And so, will they be able to help them out with their problem? We'll have to wait and see. So, I really like how the episode starts out, because in the last episode, we really got to see Mando and the child like form that connection and that be solidified. So now we are thrown immediately into how this episode opens. We're opened up with a really bad situation. We open up on this village, and it gets ransacked by raiders. And I love the fact that we see it from the perspective of a mother and daughter. Not quite a similar dynamic to Mando and the child, but similar enough that you kind of get the similar idea. And I do like the shot of the view from inside the basket that they're hiding under. So yeah, this village gets ransacked, and when Mando and the child make their way to this planet, the mom catches note of that Razor Crest flying by. So it's like, okay, this village is obviously going to ask him for help. And another thing that I really like about Mando and the child's relationship is Mando's like, okay, I'm going to see if we can find some shelter. Just stay here. And when he goes and opens up the door to the Razor Crest, the child is immediately by his side. Like, it's a simple and obvious joke, but it's still a really good button. It's like, just stay here. Don't don't do the exact opposite of what I'm telling you, and then does the exact opposite. It's classic. They make their way into like a little restaurant-y area where they sit down and get a little bit of something to eat. Well, the child gets something to eat. Mando does not get anything to eat. They do see a loth cat though, which when watching it back then and watching the Easter egg breakdowns, it's like now I understand that that's a reference to Star Wars Rebels. But here in this little restaurant is where we are introduced to the character of Cara Dune, played by a woman that I sincerely think you do not want to mess with, ginacarano. Now, why do I say not want to mess with? Well, her background is in professional fighting, in more specifically, I think, mixed martial arts, and you might have recognized her from other movies that she has done. More specifically, what comes to my head is being in the first Deadpool movie. But for people my age that watched the rebooted American Gladiators from, oh God, I hate when I say this, almost 2 decades ago. Oh God, that makes me feel old. Oh no. But anyway, moving past my midlife crisis there for a second. She was the gladiator Crush on that show. So that was my first exposure to Gina Carano. Then Deadpool, and then here. And the fight sequence that happens between Mando and Cara is really, really good, and Bryce Dallas Howard does a really good job of shooting that. And basically after having a little conversation in the little restaurant area, Mando's like, "Well, it looks like this planet is already taken. We need to get out of here." But a couple of the villagers, one of whom is, after doing a little bit of research, because I'm like, one of these villagers looks familiar. One of them is played by Eugene Cordeo, who you might recognize from being in the Loki series for the MCU, as well as a whole host of other comedy stuff that he's done. They come up and ask our Mandalorian for help with something. Help with the Ravengers that came through. And Mando only decides to do it because, well, they have housing and they have a little bit of peace there. And so they go there, and Mando and the mom, they have a little bit of something. There you can tell there's a bit of like sexual tension there a little bit. Like Mando, and even towards the end of the episode, it's like Mando wants that kind of sense of normalcy, but he stays committed to the cause. No one has seen him since he put the helmet on when he was a kid, and the only times that he takes it off is when he needs to eat, which we see him do in this episode, which I thought was a really, really cool touch. We don't see his face yet. We don't see that beautiful Pedro Pascal face. Not yet. Not quite yet. But he does take the helmet off. So Mando and Cara then do a little bit of reconnaissance at the camp of these raiders, or near the camp of the raiders, I should say. And they discover that they have an ATST with them. And basically they report that back to the village saying, hey, you guys need to clear out of here. They have an ATST. You guys don't stand a chance against that. But the villagers do convince them that, we've been here for, as long as we can remember. So we're gonna stand our ground right here. And villagers convince Mando and Cara to basically train them up to essentially get rid of these raiders. And in doing so, getting everyone ready, Mando discovers that the mom is a really good shot with a rifle. So the plan is to lure the ATST into one of the, what I'm going to call, swamp bays, or little marshes that they have in the village, and basically destroy it there. And so Cara and Mando go to the Ravengers camp and basically wreck shop there, get the ATST's attention, is about to step in that little marsh, but not quite. And it just starts, it's like Always Sunny, it starts blasting and destroying the village left, right, and center. The Ravengers, what's left of them anyway, come in and also start wreaking havoc. It takes Cara and Mando, Cara baiting it further and further until it steps into that marsh and it falls. And then Mando sending a grenade in there to destroy it for the Ravengers to hightail it out of there. And the villagers have held on to they stood their ground, and they're going to keep their village. And so afterwards, after spending a little bit of time there, Mando has made the decision to leave the child in the care of this village, and saying, in his line of work, being with him is probably not the safest option in the world. And so he's going to break the news to the mom that, he's going to be staying and that he's not. But what Mando doesn't know is that a bounty hunter with a fob has tracked them to this location. And he's going to kill Mando because he sees that that helmet might be removed. Mando stops it, and so he redirects his shot over to the child. You hear a shot go off. Mando tells the mom to get the kids and all that stuff and hide, but it was Cara shooting down that bounty hunter, and Mando finds that fob and destroys it and realizes, the kid's not going to be safe here. He's not going to be safe anywhere except with me. And so they make that tough decision to leave the camp and to basically be out on the run, on the lam, essentially. And that is where episode 4 ends off. I really enjoyed this episode. Lots of big... there was one big action sequence towards the end, but lots of other really good action sequences peppered in throughout this episode. And it was just a really fun time. It was a really, really fun time, and as we will see when we keep going down the road of this series, is that Bryce Dallas Howard will be responsible for a lot of memorable episodes in the series, one of which we will cover way later, which I will have some thoughts on. Maybe not the thoughts that you might be thinking, but some thoughts on the episode. But that will be way later. But until then, guys, be safe out there, and remember, always try and find a companion in your life, because they may end up taking you on a different path and showing you a new way to do things. I will catch you guys next time.